The call came on a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning that feels aggressively normal. I was halfway through my coffee, standing barefoot on the cold kitchen tile of my one-bedroom apartment in Columbus, Ohio, scrolling emails on my phone. Rent reminder. Spam. A calendar alert for a meeting I already hated. Nothing special. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Area code I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. I don't know why I didn't. Maybe instinct. Maybe boredom. Maybe the universe nudging me toward the mess it had been quietly assembling behind my back. "Hello," I said, balancing the phone between my ear and shoulder. "Good morning, may I speak with Emily Carter?" the woman asked, professional and clipped. "This is she." "Ms. Carter, this is Linda from First Federal Credit Services. I'm calling regarding your outstanding loan balance." I frowned. My what? There was a brief pause, the sound of keys tapping. "Your loan, account ending in 4831. Original principal amount, $412,000. I laughed, actually laughed. "I think you have the wrong person," I said. "I don't have a loan like that. I don't have any loan like that." Another pause, longer this time. "Ms. Carter, according to our records, this loan was approved 18 months ago. You are listed as the primary borrower." My stomach dropped so suddenly, I had to grab the counter. "That's not possible," I said. "I've never applied for a loan like that. I make $62,000 a year. I rent. I drive a 10-year-old Honda." "I understand this is concerning," Linda said smoothly. "But the loan is active. Payments have been made irregularly, and it's now flagged for review. That's why I'm calling." My mouth went dry. "Who signed it?" I asked. There was a pause that felt heavier than the others. "You did," she said, "electronically." The kitchen felt too small, too quiet. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. "That's not possible," I repeated, weaker this time. "I would remember signing a $412,000 loan." Linda didn't argue. She just said, "I can email you the documentation on file." "Please do," I said. We ended the call, and I stood there staring at my phone like it might explode. Then the email came in. I sat at my kitchen table for 3 hours, scrolling, rereading, zooming in. There was my name, my social security number, my address from 2 apartments ago, an electronic signature dated March 3rd, 2024. I checked my calendar. That was the week my mother had asked for a quick favor. I remembered it suddenly, with horrifying clarity. "Emily, honey," she'd said over FaceTime, smiling too wide. "Your father and I are just sorting out some paperwork. Nothing serious. We just need you to verify your identity for a form." I remembered rolling my eyes. "What kind of form?" "Oh, boring bank stuff. You're so good with details, sweetheart." She sent me a link, a DocuSign request. I'd skimmed it on my lunch break, annoyed, distracted. It looked like some generic verification form. I remembered thinking I'd look closer later. I never did. Because I trusted them. My hands started shaking. I scrolled further. Property address. A 4-bedroom colonial in a wealthy suburb of Cincinnati. Not my parents' house. I knew that address. It was my sister. I called my parents first. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. Then I called my sister. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Hey, Em," Sarah said, bright and breathless. "What's up?" "Did Mom and Dad take out a loan in my name?" I asked. Silence. Not confusion, not surprise. Silence. "Sarah, they said they talked to you." The room tilted. "They said you agreed," she continued, quieter now. "They said you were fine with it." "Fine with what?" I snapped. "A $412,000 loan." "It was for the house," she said quickly. "The interest rate was better under your credit. Dad said it was temporary." "Temporary?" I laughed, a sharp, ugly sound. "Are you making the payments?" "Yes, well, mostly," she said. It's been tight since Jason lost his job. My vision blurred. You're missing payments, I said. It's in review. My credit is about to be destroyed. They promised it wouldn't affect you, Sarah said. They said. I don't care what they said, I cut in. Did you know it was illegal? Another pause. Emily, please don't do this, she said. You know how hard things have been for us. Us. Not me. Not the sister whose name they used like a spare credit card. I hung up. That night, I didn't sleep. I ran my credit report. Late payments, high utilization, a loan I never wanted sitting like a bomb under my name. Everything suddenly made sense. Why my credit score had dropped last year. Why my car loan refinance was denied. Why my landlord had asked extra questions during my last renewal. They hadn't just borrowed my name. They'd spent it. I drove to my parents' house the next morning. I didn't call ahead. My mother opened the door with a smile that froze when she saw my face. Oh, she said, you're early. Explain, I said, walking past her. My father was at the kitchen table, newspaper folded, coffee untouched. He didn't look surprised. Sit down, he said. I didn't. You forged my signature, I said. You took out a $412,000 loan in my name. We didn't forge anything, my mother said quickly. You signed it. I signed a verification form, I said, not a mortgage. It was all bundled together, my father said calmly. Perfectly legal. It's not, I said, and you know that. My mother sighed, like I was being dramatic. Emily, you're single. You don't need a house right now. Sarah has a family. There it was. The sentence I'd heard my entire life, dressed up in different clothes. You risked my future, I said, without asking. We raised you, my father said. We sacrificed for you. And now you're sacrificing me, I said. My mother reached for my hand. We thought you'd understand. I pulled away. Here, what's going to happen? I said, my voice shaking but steady. You're going to transfer that loan out of my name immediately. My father shook his head. We can't. Then I go to the bank, I said, and the police. My mother gasped. You wouldn't. I looked at them, really looked. The people who taught me right from wrong. Who told me honesty mattered. Who just committed identity fraud and expected gratitude. Yes, I said, I would. And for the first time in my life, I saw fear flicker across my father's face. That was the moment something inside me broke. Not loudly. Cleanly. If they thought I would quietly carry their debt, their lies, their favoritism, they had no idea who they just created. I didn't go home after leaving my parents' house. I drove until my hands stopped shaking, until the anger settled into something colder, sharper. I parked outside a public library and sat in my car, staring at the brick building like it held answers. Maybe it did. Inside, I opened my laptop and created a folder. I named it simply, Evidence. That was the moment I stopped being the victim of my family's choices and became their problem. Documentation is power. I requested everything. Every document from the bank. Every IP address tied to the DocuSign. Every payment record showing missed or late installments. I ran a full credit report and saved PDFs of the damage. Then I pulled old emails and texts from my parents, the quick favor, the just paperwork, the don't worry about it. I wasn't emotional while I worked. I was methodical. Because revenge isn't loud. It's precise. The pressure campaign. 2 days after my visit, my phone started blowing up. Mom, you're tearing this family apart. Dad, the bank is asking questions. Call me immediately. Sarah, Jason says you're overreacting. This could ruin us. That one made me smile. Ruin us. They were finally including me in the consequences. I replied to no one. Instead, I scheduled a consultation with a financial crimes attorney. She was calm, sharp, and didn't flinch once as I laid it all out. "This is identity fraud," she said plainly, "and mortgage fraud, multiple felonies." "They're my parents," I said. She nodded. They were adults when they did this. I left her office, lighter than I'd felt in months. The bank meeting. The bank conference room smelled like burnt coffee and anxiety. My parents sat on one side of the table. Sarah and her husband Jason sat beside them, arms crossed, already defensive. I sat alone on the other side. Linda, the woman who had first called me, was there, along with a compliance officer and a man from legal. "Ms. Carter," the compliance officer said, "thank you for coming forward." My mother shot me a look sharp enough to cut glass. I slid my folder across the table. Emails. IP logs, showing the documents were signed from my parents' home computer. Proof that payments came from my sister's joint account, not mine. Silence fell heavy. "This loan was obtained under false pretenses," the legal officer said slowly. My father cleared his throat. "There's been a misunderstanding." "No," I said calmly, "there's been a crime." Sarah burst into tears. "Emily, please," she said. "You know Mom and Dad just wanted to help us." "At my expense," I replied. The compliance officer leaned back. "We'll be freezing the account pending investigation." My mother gasped. "You can't do this," she said to me. "Think about the family." I did. And for the first time, I chose myself. Fallout. The loan was removed from my credit within weeks. My score rebounded. The late marks vanished. The weight lifted. My parents were not so lucky. The bank transferred the loan into my sister and parents, names jointly, or accelerated repayment. They couldn't refinance. They couldn't sell without taking a massive loss. And when the bank referred the case to authorities, I didn't stop it. I didn't push it either. I simply told the truth when asked. That was enough. The last call. My father called me 3 months later. His voice sounded older, smaller. "They're offering a plea deal," he said. "Probation, heavy fines." "I'm sorry," I said and meant it, for the man I thought he was. "Your mother hasn't stopped crying," he added. "She didn't cry when she used my identity," I said. Silence. "Can you ever forgive us?" he asked. I thought about it. "I don't know," I said, "but forgiveness doesn't mean access." I hung up. 1 year later. I bought my own place. A modest townhouse, nothing flashy, entirely mine. I signed every document slowly, carefully, fully awake. My sister doesn't speak to me anymore. My parents send birthday cards. I send none back. And sometimes, late at night, I think about how close I came to carrying a debt that wasn't mine, how easily love had been used as a weapon. But I don't feel angry anymore. I feel free. Because the greatest revenge I learned wasn't ruining their lives. It was refusing to let them ruin mine. The end.